Recording live from Glory Hole Studios in Chicago and beyond. This is Cognitive Dissonance. Every episode we blast anyone who gets in our way. We bring critical thinking, skepticism, and irreverence to any topic that makes the news, makes it big, or makes us mad. It's skeptical, it's political, and there is no welcome mat. Today that you're hearing this is Thursday, August the 1st, but we're recording it Thursday, July the 25th. Who knows what will happen, Cecil, between now and then?
It won't matter.
Won't matter.
Won't matter.
Because we're doing a funny show tonight.
Funny show. This is the goofy show.
This is not,
this is the...
but I just want to say, if there's levity here that's unwarranted, we don't know. Don't blame us.
Yeah, but you know, the thing
we're
is
recording
like,
from the future.
The thing is though,
Or
in the past couple weeks, there's no reason for levity at all. So, I mean, now it feels like there might be. So who knows?
Well, let's have some fun, Cecil. This story comes from Fox, New York. Shattered salsa jar causes $20,000 in damages at Massachusetts pool. Oh. How many questions do you have right now?
I tell you what, man, the amount of money. I know that glass is dangerous in a pool.
Yeah,
right?
Because you can't see it. Right.
Yeah.
You
can't see it. But don't they have like those fucking Roombas that can go around there and suck all that shit up or what?
Cecil, I love you, but you're way ahead of yourself right now. Who's eating salsa in a public pool, man?
I was thinking of one of those floaties with the bowl of chips, and then it's got a thing for salsa right on it.
You are a baller motherfucker if you go to the goddamn municipal pool and you're like, bring me the goddamn Tostitos. Bring me a fucking jar of salsa. You're walking around with your fucking sun hat on, getting your fucking sunburn on with a fucking jar. I'm not going to stop gobbets of salsa falling into the water.
I see this as more of like an indoor pool too. So you've got to go spend a minute in that shitty shower for a minute before you jump in. They won't let you jump in unless you shower first.
You know how many public pools have have this sign and they think you must take a freezing cold, horrible shower.
The one that I grew up in, the one that I grew up at, if you didn't come out wet, they would send you back in.
Really?
Yes, they would. The lifeguards would be like, nope. Get back in there. Your shorts aren't wet. I don't even understand why that is. Like, what is happening? Are you to wash away your poops or something?
Sarin or something?
What is happening?
You got to take a decon shower before you get in the chlorinated pool.
It's like when you're a new fish in prison and they throw the delouser. It's like send you
what is that?
And then you get beat with chains or whatever. And then you have to go through. And then you cry yourself to sleep. And then you get to go to swim afterwards.
That is, I haven't thought about that in years, but I have fucking, like, I have walked past that and been like, no, because the first couple of times.
It's so cold. It's so cold.
It's like they set it to stun, dude.
So cold,
it's ridiculous.
Oh, it's so cold. And it is like, I've taken so many cold showers in my life because not on purpose. It's not because I want to.
You're not doing like the Wim Hof method shit, like where you're just like cold plunging yourself in your shower or whatever.
Although all the athletes do that shit, I won't do that. That shit makes my heart stop.
Let's pause. Have you ever done a cold plunge?
So I have done, the only time I've ever done what I would consider a cold plunge was when I did the Tough Mudder, and I was like, I will never put my head under that cold water ever again as long as I live.
The gym that I went to,
it was ice water.
It's fucking crazy. Like, I read a bunch of stuff, and it's all very suspect about whether or not it actually has any, like, real long-lasting benefits.
A lot of top athletes do it,
right?
But I think that a lot of top athletes also wear like K-tape.
Yeah, well, a lot of like top athletes, like they fucking like they do knock twice on the fucking.
You'll see the cupping,
have like special socks and stuff.
You'll see the cupping shit on their arms.
Oh yeah,
like
there's a lot of junk.
They
science.
do all kinds of that stuff.
There's a lot of junk science into bro science. But like, I was kind of curious about the cold plunge, and then I joined a gym. Maybe 2 years ago, before I had the home gym at my new house, I joined a gym that had a cold plunge. And I was like, okay, it's here. It's in the locker room. So I do my workout and everything. But here's the shit part. Like, you do your workout at a gym. And then by the time you're done with your workout, and then you walk and get your stuff, and you walk out of the and you go to the locker room, you're starting to cool down already. So it's not like you're like, finish your workout and you're fucking still smoking hot, like boiling sweat hot. You're starting to cool down. Your heart rate's good. And then I would get in that cold plunge. And I would just sit there. I'd be like, okay, you're supposed to sit here for like 3 minutes up to your neck in this cold plunge. I never got a fucking benefit whatsoever out of it except for shivering.
Except for being really
just
cold.
being like, yeah, this sucks.
It's hard to breathe.
Yeah.
When I was in Norway, we went to a spa and we were in a whirlpool, and then you could go into a room with snow and ice, and it was minus some degrees in there, and you could stand in there. And so I did that a couple of times.
Yeah.
But again, I'm just really hot, and now I'm really cold, and it's weird because my body doesn't know what to do, and then I just go jump back into the other thing. But another thing too, one of the reasons why I had all those cold showers is because when I go to Pennsic every year, they wouldn't, for years and years and years and years, people didn't have their own shower. Now there's a bunch of solar showers, and people bring propane tanks, and they have their own like little shower. They build a wooden shower. Almost every camp has their own wooden shower. But back in the day when I was first going there, that was a novelty. Most people didn't bother to do that. They would just use the camp showers because they were numerous. But after a big battle, you'd come down and there'd be a line out the door, and there's not a lick of hot water. So you'd go in there and you'd just be like, you'd have to psych yourself up. You'd be like, all right, I'm going to go. And then you jump out. It was the worst, dude.
Fuck that.
So bad.
Fuck that.
It's the worst.
If that was the price of admission to swim in the municipal pool,
oh my God,
I would be like, yeah, I don't want to go swimming. I don't want anything that bad. As a kid, though,
yeah, as a kid, it didn't matter. But I will say this, like when I saw this, the amount of work they had to do is they had to drain the entire pool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know how you get salsa. I mean, I figure there is enough chlorine to beat salsa. I feel like if you put them in a fight, there's gonna eventually be
chlorine, unless there's a lot of salsa.
It's got to be like a truckload of salsa.
Something else just occurred to me. Imagine a salsa jar right now. Picture the salsa jar, and you're in the pool, presumably with the salsa, and then you drop it. How does the glass break?
I think what happened is it broke on the side and it fell in the pool, like it slid. Like, you're walking with it.
So you're walking around with your walking salsa.
Yeah, you just walking salsa.
Yeah, okay. Now it makes sense. You got your walking salsa. You're patrolling the pool edge.
There's a guy.
With your walking salsa.
There's a guy skipping tortilla chips across the pool. Someone on the other side just catching him in his mouth.
You got to use the scoop ones. They catch air better. Oh, this is great. This is from TechCrunch.com. CrowdStrike offers a $10 apology card to say sorry for the outage.
Did you see how bad it fucked everything up?
The world stopped.
Yeah.
Like the world
What about your
stopped.
business? Did your business
Totally fine. Yeah, we had no problems.
Yeah.
It's funny, I didn't even know it was happening. And then we were recording Dear Old Dads, and Eli was talking about it on the show. And he's like, I thought you guys would be screwed over. I'm like, no, we did. We evidently don't use that. It's the one time we didn't get fucked.
Yeah, I think some banks might have used it, but I think mostly what happened was like the airlines and things, they like sent that patch through, and that fucked everything up. And so
it like blue screened people's
everything.
Shit.
And they canceled. There's actually a visualization of all the flights across America and how it very much reminded me of how 9/11, when 9/11 happened.
And there's just like no flights?
Then you start to see them like disappearing, slowly landing,
right.
and then nothing comes back. And that's it. That's the end of the flying for today.
I did see a funny like meme or whatever it was that was like Southwest flights were still able to go because like they use like ancient technology built by the Romans or some shit. Like it's like
they use an abacus and an old guy in one room. They don't assign seats. Although I saw today that they're going to start.
I saw the same thing.
They're going to change their.
I don't know how I feel about that as a person who has a lot of Southwest points and some affinity for that airline. I don't know how I feel about that.
Do you normally muscle yourself into there, or do you get on like the premier boarding or whatever?
I pay the extra like $15 to get the like early board or whatever, and then that guarantees you a spot in A or B. And then I just do it for me. And then like, if like Haley and I are both flying, then I'll just put my bag there. And we've never had a problem. We've always been able to sit together and get I don't really care too much about the seat either. I just want to make sure she and I are sitting together on the airplane. I don't care front, back.
Yeah.
I'm never going to get the good seat. Like I'm never going to get the
front seat. Yeah.
So front one I can get sometimes, but it's the one where the emergency exit.
Oh yeah. That's the one somebody comes in and just tags that one right away.
Yeah, that one's like immediate. Yeah. So CrowdStrike's giving away a $10 Oopsie Pants gift certificate.
We talked about this, and I don't remember what the story was, but we were talking about something like this a while back where we had said, just don't do anything. Like, this is insulting, right? Yep. I forget what it was. Somebody gave a $5 gift card to something in the past, and you and I were just like, just don't do anything.
Yeah, man.
If you're going to don't do anything.
Yep.
And then the worst part is that they send this money out. They say, yeah, hey, Uber Eats on us. You get a late night snack or a coffee on us. We're so sorry for grounding all air traffic in the United States.
I know we stopped America.
I realize that that's trillions of dollars that we wasted today, but we just wanted you to get a coffee. And then people went to go redeem them, and because there was so much traffic to redeem them, Uber Eats froze their accounts. So people were going and saying, this is fraudulent. It doesn't even work.
Well, plus, wasn't it something like 60 million computers were affected or something?
Yeah.
I don't think everybody got a $10.
I think they probably sent it to certain people, but not everybody.
Right. Because I was thinking about that too. It's I don't think you spent $600 million at Uber Eats or whatever you'd have to do.
Yeah, but if you have 2 people or 3 people on that are subscribed to your CrowdStrike from that one particular work that are the people who handle that security protocol for your work or whatever.
There was a woman who managed a company before I got there that had the job I have now. And she was notoriously cheap. And I heard stories about this exact thing where she would make the staff work they'd be like, oh, I need you to come in, work late, come in over the week. I need you to work Saturday and Sunday. We got to get this thing done. We're in the middle of this refi crunch. Going to need everybody to put in 70 hours, 80 hours this week. And her thank you would be seriously, a $5 Starbucks card for people. I got you all a 5. And she felt so magnanimous handing these things out. And it's exactly your point.
Eat it.
Just don't say anything.
Don't do it.
Just say thank you and mean it.
Don't do it.
That's a lot better than a fucking, here's an insult.
Because it's a nothing. Yeah. It's essentially a nothing.
I'm going to say thank you and put my balls on your head.
Even if it was a $20 gift card, that's not even what they're making per hour.
Yeah.
So why would you do that?
It's nothing.
It's nothing.
It's literally nothing. Yeah. So this story comes from KIRO 7.
Yikes.
Human finger. I got to read this whole article.
Yeah, it's pretty short.
Human finger found in Tacoma driveway ID'd, returned to owner.
Hold on. Who's knocking on here and be like, do you have 9 fingers?
No.
Is your name Count Rugen? You killed my father.
It's just it's like the fucking Count from Sesame Street, but he's only
11 fingers.
8.
It's just screaming.
The case of a mysterious human finger found in a Tacoma driveway earlier this month has been solved, and the digit has been returned to its rightful owner. During the afternoon of July the 5th, unsurprising.
No kidding, right? July the 5th. It was in the air the entire 4th. It was spinning in orbit, and then it finally re-entered Earth's atmosphere on the 5th.
Yeah, I wonder how much of your job on July the 5th is just driving around returning fingers like you're fucking...
I don't know how true this is, right?
Finger dash?
Because you can't... Grub nub. No, but I saw StubHub. But I saw fucking this. I don't know how true this is, right? Because you see things on the internet and somebody says, this is this.
Right.
So you have to believe them because I think a radiologist looks at the
X-rays and shit. Yeah.
And they showed, here's a radiology of a night at the emergency room on July 4th, is what they said.
Yeah.
So it's just images of hands. And it is so fucked up. But I don't know.
Right,
it could be this is also the radiology of the people who work down by the fucking stamp factory or whatever.
It also could have been collected over the last 10 years.
Anything. Right. I don't know. Right. You have to trust what the poster says.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
But if true, holy shit, dude, missing digits and crushed shit, and the entire part of the middle of the hand is just fucking all the bones are in different places, and it's crazy.
It's a horror show.
And the thing is, you could tell just by looking at it, you're holy shit, that's fucked up, but it's also not gory because you're not looking at it and you're just oh my God, is that fucked up though?
Yeah, that's fucking nuts. And the worst part is they still waited 6 hours in the emergency room waiting room.
They got their belt around it like a fucking tourniquet or whatever.
Tacoma Police Department officers responded to a report of a finger found in a driveway in the 800 block of South Pine. I also am not sure I'd call the police if I found a finger.
Yeah,
I don't know what I would do. I don't know what. Same thing. If I walked out of my driveway,
first thing I do is look for a phone I could open.
Wouldn't you be tempted to pick it up and point at things with it and have fun with it? Be like wake up your wife like by poking her with somebody like the finger.
Put it on a necklace and be like, I can make as many wishes and it'll keep curling.
Look, I'm just saying, finders keepers.
I feel like there's a lot of untapped fun in just a random finger.
Yeah,
right, yeah.
That's a finding finger. That's not a returning finger.
Put it in one of those claw games.
If you find enough of them, you've got all three.
You get a whole hand.
Oh, God. Responded to a report of a finger found in a driveway, the 800 block of Who Cares, according to a statement by someone that doesn't matter. That person provided an update in a statement to My Northwest Thursday that a person saw the story and called the Pierce County Medical Examiner's Office, which had taken custody of the finger, to claim the finger.
What are you gonna do? Have like a solemn burial?
Like a little hamster? You put it like a little matchbox?
A little box. You dig it with like one of those small shovels.
This is my wife's favorite one.
You have to play like taps on a kazoo.
You flushing it down a tiny toilet.
It gets stuck. You have to take a tiny plunger and push it through.
The man identified himself by his surname and admitted to losing multiple digits, quote, messing around with some fireworks.
Did they canvass the area? There's like 3 or 4 people trying to recreate it.
Yeah.
You just see a chalk line of like, there's like one over here, one over here.
You walk in, your hand's all like fucking missing multiple fingers. What I wonder is, did he find all the fingers?
Oh my God. I don't know. Tom, I cut a tip of my finger off cooking this last, I think it was December. Maybe it was like the previous December, actually. And I nipped the tip of my finger off. It was my thumb. And I had to sit in the ER for a while until they finally saw me, and they had to like bandage it multiple times. And when they bandaged it so it was shit that stuck and they had to tear it off. It was fucking awful.
Right.
Hurt like a motherfucker. I can't imagine what that feels like if you just don't have anything left. Like, oh my God, it would hurt just a little bit if the tip was off and it hurt like a motherfucker. I can't imagine being like, yeah, it's down to the second knuckle. Like, what the fuck?
Dude, it's a big enough deal to play just the tip. All right, so this gets even crazier. So Muse didn't provide the identity of the man who claimed the finger in the statement. It did explain the latent prints on the recovered finger correspond with the information. So they made this guy shows up with a hand full of blowed up finger missing parts. And he's like, I think that one might be mine. And they're like, we got to match it up.
Is
there a line of other people?
Can you do me a favor and touch this black pen? I want one of your good ones. And then right in front of him, like right in front of his face, they take the dead finger and they're just like
rolling it. Yeah.
I'm gonna roll this thing out real quick.
Like, this has been a while. This is not a reattaching finger.
No, like this is just a sentimental finger.
Again, maybe his wife wanted
We've been through a lot.
I've had it since I was a boy. I finally grew in. This is one of my adult fingers. I wasn't expecting to lose my baby fingers like this.
He's like Deadpool. There's a tiny little one coming out. Growing out.
This is the best line of the whole thing. Tacoma police said there was no blood around the finger, and it appeared to have been, possibly, left on the property by an animal, perhaps a bird. Some pigeon is flying around with your fucking hand or whatever. It's like Pizza Rat the pigeon.
I like to think there's like a chipmunk stuffing it in his cheek. He's standing, he's got 2 fingers sticking out of his own mouth.
I can't believe he ate the whole thing.
God, it's amazing, dude. God, it's so funny.
America.
Holy shit, dude.
Oh, God. You got that fucking missing finger plays that Lee Greenwood song. Like, that's just proud.
There should be a 4th of July greeting card that comes with a finger and an electric. Yeah, and
it just never stops playing, and you eventually have to throw it in the garbage in your garage. And your garage sings a song for 3 days.
Do you remember those like song playing greeting cards?
Oh God, yeah.
Used to be?
Oh,
do
yeah.
they still make those?
Oh yeah, they still make.
Do they?
Yeah, because occasionally someone will get one for one of the kids.
Oh, yeah.
And then I've got to wait for the kid to be done with it and take it out to the garage and throw it screaming fucking banshee shriek in my garbage can. And then
I didn't realize that. I guess I hadn't seen one in a long time.
some of them play for days, man.
I'm also really cheap, and I only go to like fucking Walgreens to get people cards. So I'm like, whatever.
They have it like CVS and shit.
All right.
Yeah, they have them at CVS.
I've never seen one.
Yeah.
Wow.
So stories from BBC. Australian surfer's leg washes up after shark attack.
There's a lot of dismemberment this show.
There's a theme.
Yeah.
There's a theme. This guy's out surfing. Shark comes up. Great white shark comes up. Noms his leg.
Nips it at the butt.
How fucking insulting that he spat it out. That's the thing I immediately thought. Was like, if you're going to fucking bite off my goddamn gam.
Yeah.
Eat it.
It's like
the fucking leg,
It's like somebody taking the choicest piece of food at a potluck and leaving it on their plate.
Thank you.
Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
You take the fucking good edge of the brownie and you're just like, nah.
I nibbled on it. I don't want it. I don't want it now.
They're like, they put it on ice or whatever. They're deciding whether or not they can like glue it back on or whatever they do. I don't know if it's good. The article's not clear whether he's got his fucking peg back or not.
I don't think, I think because the way the article sounds, it sounds like he barely made it out of the water.
Right.
And then someone was luckily there and put a tourniquet
I hear you
on
bleed
his
a
leg.
lot when your whole leg gets chopped off.
Feels like a lot. Feels like a lot. God, I was giant. I was such a giant like coward when like that little piece fell off my finger. I was like, I was like, oh fuck, this hurts. And I was like, I couldn't imagine losing more than that. Like that's enough. Dude, like I want to die before anything else goes. Like
for real. Dude, there's a podcast I listen to for fodder for citation needed, but it's called Real Survival Stories. And all the time I'm like, I would die immediately. I would die because I would want to.
Yeah.
Like this shit happened. Like if a shark bit off my leg, I'd be like, blah, blah, blah. I just drink right in the drink. Right. Bringing that water into my sweet lungs to die. I'm not like bravely climbing onto my surfboard and paddling to shore and having a stranger put a dog leash or whatever on my fucking stump and being like, I still love sharks because he's in his natural environment. I'd be like, kill me. This hurts so bad. Jesus Christ. Are you kidding me?
I was just laying there and some guy's taking a small seashell trying to kill him, hitting him over the head.
I'm like, I'll show you how it's done. Give me the seashell.
Give me it. It's amazing.
I don't want to survive that shit.
I don't either, dude. I fucking don't either. Like that's so crazy that a shark would just fucking be able to nip the whole thing off.
Dude, it bit his fucking leg off.
But then like not like take him with it. Like because to me that feels like such a traumatic event that there would be some sort of fighting and something and then I would imagine you would probably, it sounds like you'd drown, but this guy was just like, no, I got to my board and and I think
I would drown.
Yeah.
You would drown.
I would drown.
This guy's tough.
No,
He's
this
Australian.
guy's tough as shit. Yeah.
Australian, this is a fucking flesh wound.
Yeah. No,
you can hop around on the other leg.
When he got out, they just squeezed the spider on it. He's fine. He's walking in a week.
Rubbing a kidney over the thing is fine. It doesn't matter. Doesn't even matter.
Tape a roux on the bottom of there.
His stories from the BBC.
Okay, I gotta put this guy on the screen because he looks like a guy who would steal $4,000 worth of electricity.
Electrician stole $4,000 of electricity from his neighbors in my house. Yeah, the neighbors didn't even put up any resistance. They had to meditate about it. Just
So that was a stretch.
Okay.
See how it pulled a little.
No,
You're really trying on that
okay.
one. I wasn't positive about that one.
I read this and I was like, yeah, that's about 10 months of electricity in my house. That's what my electric bill is a fucking $1 million.
You got kids that don't give a shit.
They never leave either. And they're always there, Cecil.
They never go anywhere. And then they're online or whatever. And so that wastes money.
Like Donovan's like running like fucking nuclear fallout experiments or some shit. I don't even know what's going on over in that room. That room glows and pulsates. $400 standard electric bill. That's a regular electric bill in our place.
Right, yeah, so it's like 10 months. Yeah.
10 months.
10 months worth of time. It's crazy because what he did was he's an electrician. So he went and somehow got a feed line from their place and then hid it behind a picture.
But if you were going to do this, wouldn't you have, just for fun, just for yourself so you would laugh, wouldn't you have a picture of like a substation or something?
Or Tesla.
I would absolutely have a funny picture.
I
Like,
would have something.
all right.
Yeah, no, I'm stealing this.
I mean, it's a funny picture, though, right?
This.
Like,
I'm stealing this. This is. Yeah. Do you remember back in the day? There used to be people who used to climb up and do this with cable. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're a good person, but I've never been. Like, did you ever have anybody offer to give you stolen cable?
No, never.
When in my first apartment, there was this guy, David. He was the Comcast guy, and he came out to install the cable. And he's like, for $20, I'll just give you cable. And I was like, for $20, I'll just have cable. That sounds great. And so every month he would come by and I'd give him a 20 and he wouldn't disconnect the cable. He just kept it hooked up. He just like had it connected. So I didn't pay for cable like my first 2 years.
You did.
I paid David instead of Comcast like $100
I mean,
or
look,
whatever.
if David isn't running this shit up the chain, that's on David.
That's like, yeah. He was just like,
Tom paid money. Tom had money. Yeah. Did he give you all the channels?
It gave me like whatever came with just keeping the cable plugged in without a box.
Oh, well, perfect. Yeah.
So, and I wasn't going to get a cable box anyway, because I was like, I'm not doing the premium. I was broke. My first apartment, I was super broke. That was just the only way you could get TV. So I was like, hell yeah, David, here's your fucking $20. And he would come by and collect every month. And I'd be like, hey, man, he was a nice guy. I'd give him $20 and he'd wander off with his 20. And I'd be like, hey, pay the cable bill.
I wonder if that dude had a bunch of people that he
I'm sure he did. Yeah.
He just, if he could make $100, $200 a week, that's pretty good, especially back then. That's good.
That's what I mean. Like this was in the 90s, this was like,
wow,
maybe 2000. It was probably 2000 when I had my first apartment.
2000 when you got your first apartment. Because you and I graduated the same year.
That's right. Yeah. So it had to be 2000. The summer of 2000 is when I moved out.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah. So, but like what's funny about this story.
But hold on. There used to be other people. So there used to be other people back in the day who had satellites. Do you remember these satellites? They would buy these gigantic fucking satellite dishes. They were like enormous satellite dishes. And then they would point them up into the sky and then they would get every channel known to man. There'd be like 3,000 channels and they'd have to figure out which ones are in English or whatever.
Well, when I used to work at Circuit City, we sold DirecTV. It was a big deal. DirecTV and then whatever the other one was. There was another competitor.
DirecTV for like 4 months when I moved out rurally until I was able to get Comcast.
And you used to be able to get these like
those
cheater
chips.
cards.
The chips, the cheater chips.
Yeah,
I never had one,
They would like if you knew a guy who could program it, and they would get fried. So the DirecTV company would send like a code that would fry them every once in a while. So you'd get one for like $100 or whatever from some guy, and it would give you like all the channels
for a couple of months.
For a few months, yeah. And I remember I got my dad one once. So like I had one and it worked for like 6 months and then they sent the thing and it fried it and then we just put in the one he was paying for and we were like, well, that was really, we didn't really
6 months worth, whatever. Yeah.
And we were just like, we got all the channels. We're like, there's still nothing we wanted to watch.
Yeah.
Like it
doesn't matter. Yeah.
The only thing different was like you got like the porn channels. So like when I was like 20, I was like, I got the porn channels, it was like, it was fucking Beavis and Butthead with the fucking porn channels.
But it was bad porn channels back then.
It was like Spice or whatever.
Yeah, it's just like once in a while you see a boobie.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
It's just as I mean, you could have the same effect by just pressing your face up against the squiggly lines.
Yeah, but this was back when the internet took you 4 hours to download a picture.
Download a single nipple?
Yeah. You're like, I want to see a titty, and like the internet was like,
yeah, man. God, I remember when the first internet came out, you're like, oh, can you look at girls? And I'm like, no, you actually can't.
Nope. You can talk to somebody who says they're a girl. Yeah. They're not a girl.
That's literally the only thing you get to do. Because back then, if you wanted to download a picture of a person, you'd be like, nope, that's not happening.
Nope.
Literally never going to happen. And the picture that you'd eventually get was like taken on a potato camera. It's like a 240 by 140 image. It's essentially a postage stamp. You got to put it in a microfiche machine to beat off.
Yeah, I mean, I still did it. But it was a lot more work back in the day.
That microfiche machine didn't last long, let me tell you.
Back in my day, you had to beat off uphill both ways in the snow, God damn it. We were tougher when we were jerking off back in the day.
God.
They made this guy, though, he didn't get in all that much trouble. They made him pay it back, but he's like, I don't have any money, so like, give us like $40 a month or whatever.
You have to do it 100 times.
He didn't even go to jail. They're just like, and he's still the neighbor.
And he's still the neighbor,
He's still the neighbor.
So now you still get to look at your neighbor and be like, good morning, Bill.
You gonna steal anything else from me today, Bill?
While you put your pork chop on the grill and you're like, I'm just gonna stay out here so it doesn't disappear, right, Bill?
I would have the pettiest, most passive aggressive revenges against that guy constantly.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, I would take up like smoking cigars right under his balcony. Like I would be the worst neighbor.
Who's the worst neighbor you ever had?
Worst neighbor ever was somebody who had this is a bad story for me, but somebody had a terrible car that had a car alarm that went off anytime somebody sneezed around the block.
Oh, wow.
Like just went off constantly. It was constantly going off. And like at one point I walked out onto my balcony and I had an ice cream bar. And that fucking car, was a convertible, was going off again. And I just was like, meh, and I just threw my ice cream bar in his car. I was like, because the fucking guy, like it went off all the time, constantly. Yeah. It was one of those really loud aftermarket ones. So that guy sucked so bad.
That sounds terrible.
What about you?
I had fucking the Bumpuses that lived next door to me when I lived rurally. They were just like, I literally put up a fence so I didn't have to look at their house. They lived.
I remember this.
So like they were gross, and they just kept on adding cars to their house. Where you just be like that one didn't work. Can you just get rid of it? Because it's just sitting there.
Well, there's a looking car.
Like, no, I'm gonna get this other one. I'll hide the other car behind this car. And you're like, okay, no, man. But after a while, there was a camper, a couple of cars that didn't work deep into the yard, and they're like in the yard, and I'm just like, oh God, you people, like, what is wrong with you?
The yard car.
I'm just like, get rid of the car, man. Like, fucking call fucking Victory Auto Wreckers. That old thing's worth money. That's a Chicago joke, by the way. Joke. Only Chicago people would know the Victory Auto Wreckers thing. You can look it up on YouTube, though. You can get that one. You can find it there.
That old car's worth money.
That old car's worth money, and the door falls off on the guy. But you know, I remember that, and it was just really unsightly. And then they bought the house on the other side of me. So their kids bought the house on the other side of me. And then they would walk across my front yard. And I was like, hey man, don't walk across you walk on the street to your friend. You don't walk across my front yard. Like, who do you think you are? You don't just come in my yard. So I had to tell them a few times. So they were just annoying more than anything else. But that was it. Like I never really had super bad neighbors as an adult. I had really bad neighbors as a kid, but never as an adult.
God, the worst neighbor I had was the car alarm guy.
Most of there's neighbor horror stories though, and this is one of them for sure.
This is bad. This story comes from the AP. Meet Crush, the rare orange lobster diverted from dinner plate to aquarium by Denver Broncos fans.
It's not even the same orange. Come on.
Is that not Denver Broncos orange?
It doesn't look like a Bronco either.
I don't know that I would notice that shouldn't be eaten. Because here's the thing.
It looks like it does look like a cooked lobster though.
It does. And I would be like, great, cook it. That's an eaten lobster, dude. It's a small lobster. I will say that's a red lobster.
It is a red lobster.
Because you're going to pay $43 for a lobster that you should pay $10 for. That's a red lobster.
It is a red lobster. It 100% is a red lobster. And what do you think that this? Do you think this lobster has survivor's guilt that all his friends?
Maybe he didn't like the other lobsters in the lobster bin or whatever.
Picked on him because he's orange.
Right? Yeah. He's like, "Fuck you, Who's special now, bitches?
I'm fucking Pinchy or whatever the fucking Denver Broncos mascot or whatever. I'm gonna ride a fucking Bronco next week. The fuck out of here."
What I love about this story, I want to read part of this story real quick because there's a part of it that just I have to talk to you about. Crush will be examined by a veterinarian. And after 30 days in court, by a veteran. There's a veterinarian that's like, yeah, I know about lobsters. I went to fucking veterinarian school. Everyone else is dogs, cats, maybe horses, a fucking sheep. Some guy in the corner is like, I want to learn about the lobsters. When is the lobster part of the program?
Hold on a second. Did they euthanize him in a big pot of water? Did they have just a big pot of water? And then everybody's like, all right, you can say your goodbyes now. And then they're like, bloop. And then they come in a few minutes later instead of a paw print, they bring you drawn claw print. They bring you a claw print with a cracker. Here you go.
You get the ashes and they're served back in the shell.
They mix the ashes with a Mornay sauce. There you go. It's your lobster.
Here's your pet and a side of drawn butter.
Yeah, the veterinarian has to go in every day with a chef's hat. He's got a stethoscope and one of those stick probe thermometers that he carries with him wherever he goes.
A veterinarian.
Unbelievable. Oh, it's so good, dude.
Oh, God.
He spent a lot of time. And to me, it feels like that's an animal, though, that all of the stuff on the outside makes it so there's no internal medicine that can happen, essentially, right?
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
I can't be like, well, I gotta open it up. It's sick. I gotta do like heart compressions or whatever.
That's what I mean,
like
man.
There's nothing you could. So I don't understand that.
What is the veterinarian looking for? It's a bug.
But I also think too, like I really don't.
Oh, he's got fucking lobster rabies. He's foaming at the face or whatever it's got.
Whatever it's got. Well, I actually wonder about fish veterinarians, because we talked for a while about rat veterinarians, and people sent in messages and said they take their rat to the vet, even though they only live a couple years. They're like, if my rat's sick, I take it to the vet. Like,
right.
my rat's
love
a part
the
of my
rat.
cat. They love the rat, and I don't disagree, because rat to me feels like a part of it's
a mammal,
like part of a family.
They're really sweet, yeah,
and then like all mammals, kind of, if they grow up around other mammals or like other mammals, they'll get to like other mammals, and so that's why, like, you'll have a dog and cat that'll sleep together or whatever, a goat that'll come in your house and cuddle with them too. But what I'm not sure about fish. Like, what happens if your fish are sick? Do you call a specialist to come out and look at your fish and like, because like
you would have to do a house call.
I can't just take them and bring them to you.
You got this fucking giant
your way
aquarium you walk in with. Every you're sitting at the veterinarian's office, somebody's got their dog on a leash. You got a cat in the carrier. Somebody's got a fucking giant fish.
Every once in a while, you reach your hand in there and pet the fish.
He's a little nervous when he's at the veterinarian. He doesn't know anyone here.
He doesn't like dogs. No, but I wonder, like, clearly you got to have a house call, but I wonder, do you call people, or are you just like, you just know enough about fish to say this is fucked or this isn't? I'm curious because I've never owned fish myself.
People I know I've known people that have had big, nice, expensive aquariums, and they're just people who have to know a bunch of shit.
You just got to know it.
And then if your fish gets sick, they're just like, well, it's fucked. It's just fucked now.
I see.
Maybe that's not true if you have these like super expensive koi or something.
Yeah.
Because those koi can be like $1 million or some crazy.
What?
Dude, look that shit up. Like the most expensive koi. Like Google this thing. Like it's crazy. Some of these koi fish in Japan are worth maybe not $1 million, but they're worth a fucking astronomical sum of money.
20 grand?
$20,000. Well, the most expensive ever sold, $2 million.
Wow. That's a citation needed right there. Most expensive pets.
Yeah.
I'll do that in the future.
It's fucking crazy, man.
That's insane. Wow. Okay.
That's just a fish.
Well, I would imagine those people would have a vet, because you don't invest $2 million in a thing and not have somebody who can come out.
You got to get koi insurance.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Koi insurance.
The
policy's a little fishy.
I am curious if people will actually, if they had like a really expensive aquarium with a lot of shit.
Yeah.
If they call people out to like,
they've got to have aquarium.
There's got to be like somebody who comes to your house.
An aquarium doctor.
Yeah. Speaking of aquariums.
So the story's from science.org. Cocaine sharks found in waters off Brazil. Sharp-nosed sharks may or may not eat drifting bales of coke, but a positive drug test highlights the risk of pollution.
Look at the schnoz on that thing. You know it's loving some coke.
Dude, for real.
I mean, for real. That is definitely, that thing's doing bumps.
They do bumps off each other's snouts.
Bumps off each other. This is actually kind of a shitty story.
It is actually shitty because it's environmentally
kind of scary. Actually.
It sounds like there's just a bunch of cocaine pollution in the water and the animals get it into their system.
Well, it's because they were saying that there's raw sewage that sometimes can have cocaine in it. Then there's also plants that manufacture cocaine that dump their wastewater into rivers and things. And so it doesn't actually go through any treatment. And so then it just winds up in the ocean. And then you just have a bunch of sharks being like, hey, man,
I got a great idea.
I don't know what it is, but I like swimming in this area a lot.
I've been chewing on my cheeks all day and they're bloody, but I don't even care. It's great.
But it's kind of crazy. It's kind of like, it's kind of fucked up that there's like enough pollution to make its way into the flesh of those things. And it also people who eat them can be damaged in some way because they're also ingesting cocaine too.
Like, does anybody have on their 2024 bingo card cocaine sharks?
Cocaine sharks. That was a movie.
What other things? This is why I've said it before, and I'm growing more convinced that I am in a coma. I've been in a coma for 4 years. This shit, none of this shit, because it's too stupid to be believed.
It is too stupid.
It's some dumb shit my dumbass brain would be like, hey, what about cocaine sharks, asshole?
Last week when I saw I felt the same way the moment I saw those people that were putting bandages on their own ears.
Yeah.
After Trump got shot. I just thought to myself, come on now. That's a level of fucking crazy that I never expected to see. And you would be hard pressed not to have that in a movie like Idiocracy.
Yeah.
That would be definitely something you could easily see in Idiocracy.
You couldn't put that in a drama because it's too stupid to be taken seriously. The world is now impossible to dramatize.
Yeah.
Because it's like, no, we're living in a farce. We're living in
it feels like a farce.
In a farce.
Yeah.
So we'd have to classify the world we're living in as an unserious thing.
Yeah.
That's why I don't think it's real. I'm not sure you saw anything because I don't know that you are. I think this is all a dream that I had.
I think you're just a really convincing part of my dream.
This is fucking nuts. This story comes from WTSP.com. Florida woman sued for putting concrete in neighborhood storm drain, causing flooding issues.
Why would you do that?
It's not even that she did it. She hired a fucking crew to do this. So like they came out and put a storm drain in her property. And she's like, you didn't ask permission. And the city was probably like, it's an easement, stupid. We don't have to ask permission. And she was like, not on my property. She hired a crew of people.
What's crazy is like, that's there so it doesn't flood, stupid.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
It fucking flooded. Well, she even said, I'm going to read right from the thing. She reportedly told her neighbors, I advise you of this because once I close that pipe off, you will have a drain problem that will back up on the road and onto your property. So she intentionally knew she was causing a giant fucking problem. And she was just like, well, you can't come onto my property.
Not my property. And they only fined her like $300 or something like that.
Yeah, what is that?
Why is that?
$300.
It feels like
well, no, but $300 a day.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's $300 a day until she fixes the problem.
Okay. All right.
So
well,
that
and then she's got to pay to fix the problem. All right. Okay. Right. That's better. That's better. Because I saw that thing and I was like, oh,
yeah.
I missed the daily down here because that's what it's. I face fines of up to too. It's
what a fucking insane thing to do.
You told me stories though of back in the day when people were repossessing houses after the crash of the first housing bubble, that people would do this to their houses.
Yeah. So like people would do all kinds of spite shit to their houses right before they got evicted from their house, or they got foreclosed out of their house. So there was a whole spate of people. So it was not uncommon for people to damage the house or trash the house or pull the copper out of the walls. But people would also take Quikrete and pour it down the toilet. And then it would go into and it would, solidify and it would clog up the drain line and ruin the drain line and cause unbelievable damage to that house, which was an insanely stupid thing to do because it's not like you do that and they foreclose on the house. They're just like, well, nothing we can do about it now. They go after you for that.
Sure. Yeah.
Like these people did not get one over on the man. It's not like Bank of America was like, well, I guess we're just fucked. Bank of America's
by the best. Yeah.
Bank of America's like, we got the sheriff on our side and unlimited resources.
And the other thing that they can do too is be like, well, we're going to sell the house now.
Yeah.
And now the house is worth drastically less. And so you owe us the
balance.
The balance in between often they owe the balance.
Yeah. So. In most states, not all, but in most states, your mortgage gets wiped out through a foreclosure, but the note perseveres. And so you can owe the difference between what you owe on the note and what the value of foreclosure was. So if you trashed your own house, you're just making that gap wider.
You're making it way worse.
Yeah. And they can pursue you on that judgment. Yeah. I know that from experience.
Yeah. They may make it worse for sure.
Speaking of making things worse, Cecil, this story is from
what is happening
now Toronto.
God, Canada, what is happening up there?
This is the least polite thing. This is not polite at all.
They should be saying sorry.
Oh, yeah, you betcha. It makes no sense. Toronto building had to tell its residents to stop throwing feces at electrical workers. So power goes out in the building. Workers come out to fix the power.
Sure.
Residents, presumably angry that the power has been out, verbally abuse the people fixing the problem. And then they escalate to throwing actual shit at those people.
Here's what I want to say about this. And the reason why I want to talk about this is corralling, packaging your own shit is punishing you. Okay? That is never, ever, ever punishing someone else. That's punishing you first and punishing you a lot. Unless you're just like fucking like put a rubber over your own ass and fucking squeeze out a deuce somehow. I don't know. But like genuinely, it doesn't feel like there's any way to do that feels like it would be clean and you would get away without
shit on your hands.
Yeah. Without having to smell it and be involved in it.
Yeah, dude. Also, isn't there a moment where you're packaging your own feces and you're like, I'm not sure this is a good idea? Like, there's got to be a moment, Cecil, where you're like, I've got something wrong in the brain pan.
There's something going on in
if there's not a pause of sober reflection.
I've got to reevaluate everything in my life. I've got to I've got to go like watch that Asian woman rearrange her house or whatever.
Yeah, right.
I got to be like, there's something wrong with me. So let me watch this and see if I can turn this into therapy.
Real, dude, you've got like find another outlet. Yeah. I know the outlets aren't working, but find another outlet.
Couple times a week, I'll clean the cat box, right? And that is the worst job in the world because I have a litter robot, but it still stinks, right? It's still terrible. I still have to pull out a drawer full of poop and pee and wrap it up and then tie it up and walk it out to the garbage. And in the bag itself, it still reeks. And when I throw it it's been tied up in a garbage bag.
It does not matter.
And I open that garbage thing up, which already has one in it, and it smells, and I don't want to have to deal with it. I couldn't imagine doing this with my own poop. Like, I'm just like, no, I don't want to. I want to get out of my bathroom as soon as I go.
Like, if you're doing anything and you would be like, if someone walked in right now, this would be tough to explain.
You don't have a lot of,
first of all, leave workers alone. Just leave workers alone.
Yeah,
obviously, right? Like, so I'm just going to say that. Like, leave workers alone.
Leave them alone.
But also, if you want to get back at somebody, like if you want like some revenge, there are ways to get revenge that are still horrible and petty and mean-spirited. That do not involve handling your own dookies. You know?
You gotta take yourself out of the equation when it comes to the punishment, because you are punishing yourself.
Jesus.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for our funny show. We'll be back on Monday with something new, but we're going to leave you, like we always do, with the Skeptic's Creed.
Credulity is not a virtue. It's fortune cookie cutter, mommy issue, hypno-Babylon bullshit. Couched in scientician, double bubble, toil and trouble, pseudo quasi alternative, acupunctuating, pressurized, stereogram, pyramidal, free energy healing, watered downward spiral, brain deadpan sales pitch, late night info docutainment. Leo, Pisces, cancer cures, detox, reflex, foot massage, death and towers, tarot cards, psychic healing, crystal balls, Bigfoot, Yeti, aliens, churches, mosques and synagogues, temples, dragons, giant worms, Atlantis, dolphins, truthers, birthers, witches, wizards.
Don't call me nuts, you're nuts!
Nuts. Shaman healers, evangelists, conspiracy, doublespeak, stigmata, nonsense. Expose your sides. Thrust your hands, bloody, evidential, conclusive. Doubt even this.
The opinions and information provided on this podcast are intended for entertainment purposes only. All opinions are solely that of Glory Hole Studios, LLC. Cognitive Dissonance makes no representations as to accuracy, completeness, currentness, suitability, or validity of any information, and will not be liable for any errors, damages, or butthurt arising from consumption. All information is provided on an as-is basis. No refunds. Produced in association with the local Dairy Council and viewers like you.